You've clicked the video, so you obviously know this is a Green Chartreuse episode. I love these bottle bank style videos where we grab a bottle and make a few cocktails with it to see what we think of the spirit. You may think you're at the wrong stage of the video. There's 3 cocktails already in front of me. The eagle-eyed amongst you, yeah, fair enough, but no. This video is a bit of a special one for me. I love Green Chartreuse. I pretty much wrote a book about it, so I had to feature it at some point. What are you going to see in this video? Well, we're going to do a little backstory of the spirit itself with a little tasting, and then we're going into making these 3 cocktails. Firstly, the last word, a lovely pre-prohibition sour style cocktail, then a Bijou, another pre-prohibition cocktail, but a stirred one instead, and finally a Chartreuse modern classic with the Chartreuse Swizzle. It's going to be a great video, so let's get into it. So Green Chartreuse has been around for over 4 centuries now, and we don't really know a lot about it. It's made by Carthusian monks in France, in a monastery, and only 2 people know the recipe. As far as I'm aware, they only know half each as well. Nobody knows the entire start to finish process of Chartreuse, which is probably why there's so many supply and demand issues. Do I love it? I do, of course I do. I wrote an entire book based on these spirits, and Chartreuse was one of the spirits. Have I ever tasted it straight? Yeah, but not for a long time, so this could be fun, as it's 55% or 110 proof, and it's quite strong. That's hot. My lips are actually burning, pretty intense. Considering it is 55%, it's got more sweetness than I'd imagined. Last week we tasted an awful lot of Amaro, which you can go and see here, and I found that the higher proof in them, it tends to reduce the sweetness dramatically. Here, it's the opposite. This high proof liqueur, at the end of the day, does have the sweetness, which means it'd be quite easy to balance in cocktails, especially as the base. It's really delicious. You've got this medicinal, alpine, piney note to it. It's gorgeous. The colour alone is phenomenal too. I don't know the 130 botanicals that have been used to make this, but it is absolutely delicious. It's hot, it's definitely got a kick. Don't drink it straight. If you're gonna do this, at least have it over ice and give it a stir just to dilute it down a touch. But yeah, I'm excited to make some cocktails with this now. Cheers. The first cocktail we're gonna be making today is the last word. It wouldn't really be a Green Chartreuse video without it. To many, it is the synonymous cocktail with the spirit. Originally made pre-prohibition, I could go on and on about this drink and really wax lyrical about it, but I've done it all before in a previous video. If you want to see that along with some other equal parts cocktails, feel free to click somewhere in the video, I'm sure I'll link it, and you can go and watch that. But it's a really easy cocktail. It's a shaking cocktail, so you're going to need your tins. We're going to start with 3/4 of an ounce or 22.5 ml of lime juice. To that, we're going to add Luxardo Maraschino liqueur. This is a cherry stone liqueur. It's not got really ripe, fresh cherry flavour, but it does add a lot of sweetness to the drink, and for many it's a bit of Marmite. You either love it or hate it. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. 22.5 ml or 3/4 of an ounce of Luxardo Maraschino liqueur. Next, you want a juniper forward citrus and maybe a touch of florality from good gin. The reason I'm putting gin in before Green Chartreuse, just a little tidbit, I like to build drinks in the order of their value. Going with the cheapest first to the most expensive, because then if you cock it up, you've not wasted your most expensive spirit first, and Chartreuse is gold dust at the minute, although I do have an extra bottle. I'm using Tanqueray 10 because it's got this light citrus note. There's definitely a big strong juniper body as well, and you need something like that to hold up with the really strong alpine Green Chartreuse. 22.5 ml or 3/4 of an ounce if you prefer gin, preferably in the shaker. Last, and of course not least, we've got Green Chartreuse, the alpine, big punchy French spirit made by those pesky little monks. Believe it or not, it's actually a 55% liqueur. It's got a lot of sweetness to it, but it can also do a job as a base. And in many ways, to me, although the last word falls into the 4 equal parts cocktail family, it's actually more of a classic sour template, using the maraschino as the one sweetener, and the gin and chartreuse as this really herbal medicinal base. I love it. As with everything in this recipe, it's going to be 22.5 ml or 3/4 ounce of Green Chartreuse. Not spilling this one. Add ice to your shaker and give that a shake. You want to strain this into a chilled coupe glass. To garnish, we're going to just pop in a little maraschino cherry in the bottom of the glass. There's many different brands of cherries you can get these days, whether it be Luxardo, whether it be Starlino. The general rule of thumb, as long as they're not bright red and like a glacé cherry, you're probably going to have a good time. These though are the classic and they'll always be my favourite. Plop. And there you have it, the last word. Let's give it a go. I love a last word. It is the great entry cocktail to Green Chartreuse. It's not going to dominate as much as some of the cocktails that we are making today, but it's still got this medicinal note. It's quite light, you've got a touch of florality from the gin. Although I'm not the biggest lover of maraschino liqueur, it does work so well in this cocktail. It's like a ketchup, it's a seasoning. It adds so much. And in many ways, the actual flavour of the maraschino liqueur is masked. It just provides this underpinned sweetness, and it's a gorgeous, well-balanced sour in many ways. The fresh lime juice, gin, and in many ways the chartreuse create this sort of medicinal gimlet riff. It's delicious. This is one of my favourite cocktails for good reason. But the next one on the list is definitely more intense. The next drink that we're going to be making is a stirred chartreuse cocktail that I like to call the Bijou. The next cocktail, as I said, is going to be the Bijou. Another pre-prohibition cocktail which has got a lot of age about it. I love cocktails with history, and this one, fair to say, has that. Not only is it one of the pre-prohibition cocktails made by Harry Johnson, it's also in many ways a riff on a Negroni. You might be used to these orange forward, lovely orange peel served over ice in Lake Como, but this isn't like that. This is more of a suited and booted, you're served in York, in a nice bar, up in a chilled glass. It's a more sophisticated cocktail than the Negroni. Although, that's not knocking on the Negroni, I really love them. It is a 3-part stirred cocktail. Many modern versions will now up the gin in this spec, but I want to try a classic because then I can actually review what I think of the drink rather than tweaking it. For me, it's good advice for any drink really. Make the original spec and you can always tweak it to your own tastes as and when. I'm really interested to try this. It's been 3, 4, 5 years since I've tried the Bijou. It's going to be a real reaction, this one. So, equal parts sweet vermouth, gin and green chartreuse. Easy enough. Sweet vermouth, I'm going to be using Carpano Antica formula that has been in the fridge. If you don't want to drink vinegar, keep it in the fridge. 1 ounce or 30 ml. Next, we've got 30 ml or 1 ounce of gin. I'm going to be using Tanqueray again, and you may be asking why. It's just because it was there. Why not? 30 ml or 1 ounce of your preferred gin. Last but not least, we've got green chartreuse. Again, as with all the drinks in today's video, it's going to add a punch, it's going to add the herbaceousness, and it's going to add a real medicinality to the drink. Probably going to kick a lot more in this one being a stirred drink, but that's for me to go through. 30 ml or 1 ounce. You're going to add ice to your mixing glass and then give that a stir. Give this a stir for 25 to 30 seconds. As I like to think of this cocktail as a touch more sophisticated than a Negroni, it deserves quite a bougie Bijou glass. A chilled Nick and Number. Give this a strain. Once you've given that a strain into your chilled glass, once again, we're going to Luxardo Maraschino cherries for the garnish. Lovely. And there you have it, the Bijou. It's definitely got more punch than the last word. It's got a real intensity to it. I knew it was coming, and it still took me by surprise. The green chartreuse, along with the gin, 47.3% on that gin, 55 on the green chartreuse. It's got a lot of punch. Give it a stir for 5-10 more seconds, just to give it a little bit more dilution. Otherwise, you're going to be, like I am now, burning on the inside. What I will say, from a flavour point of view, obviously the chartreuse comes through a lot. In many ways, I'm not sure why, but I don't think the gin's come through as much as it did in the last word. I think the lime with Tanqueray 10 really lifts it and elevates it. In hindsight, maybe I'd have used less nuanced gin, something that's just got a bit more of a bold juniper note. It's not the fanciest, but even just a beefeater, something that's got real juniper notes in there, might balance a bit better. I think the florality and the citrus nuance is lost a bit in this. The sweet vermouth though, I'm happy I went bold. Antica formula has this real soft, soothing vanilla note, which does come through. The chartreuse is really trying its best to hide it, but I can get it. I think Overall, it's not one of my favourite stirred cocktails. I'm not going to rush out and get this at a bar, and I'm probably not going to make many of these if I'm completely honest. But is it a nice stirred cocktail? Yes. It reminds me in many ways more of a martini than a Negroni, because you've got that intense heat. Give it a go. You might really enjoy it. If you like stirred cocktails, martini, those boozy serves, this could be the one for you. The next cocktail is far cry from this boozy stirred monstrosity. It's actually more in my realm. It's a longer drink, it's summery, and it's from tiki, so of course I'm gonna like anything tiki culture. But obviously making the Chartreuse Swizzle. I don't have a swizzle stick. The next cocktail that we're going to be making is the Chartreuse Swizzle. It's a tiki modern classic made by Marcolo Dionysus in San Francisco as part of a Green Chartreuse competition that used to be very prominent in the industry. I love Green Chartreuse and I love tiki, so obviously I was going to be making this one. The difference between this and the other two use gin as a way to add a traditional base spirit into the mix. As a man who wrote a book on using alternative base spirits, I'm always going to have a soft spot for this one. The Chartreuse Swizzle uses Green Chartreuse as the base, with no other base spirits included. It does traditionally, however, use Velvet Falernum, a low ABV, quite sweet liqueur, with a lot of spice and quite a lot going on. I'm not going to be using that today for two reasons. Firstly, I forgot to buy a bottle. And secondly, I've actually got a product you've probably seen me use quite a lot if you follow me on Instagram. This is Kronen Swedish Punch. It is one of many Swedish punches that are available, but for me, the only real option. I have got a long history with Kronen. I love the product. It's bottled at 26%. It's got this huge cinnamony, spicy note. It's made with a mix of Batavia Iraq and other rums, and honestly, it's a delight. So I think it's going to work really well as an alternative or an improvement to Falernum in this cocktail, but I suppose we'll have to see on that one. This, being a swizzle, is an old category of cocktail. You may see that I've not got shakers here and I've not got a mixing glass. We're going to build it in the actual glass that it's served in. So let me go and grab that. We've got a chilled highball glass here. I'm going to fill this with about 2/3 of pebble ice. To this, I'm going to add the drink straight into the glass. So I'm going to build this directly in the glass. I'm going to start with 22.5 ml of freshly squeezed lime juice. Next, we've got 45 ml or 1.5 ounces of freshly squeezed piña. Next up, we've got 15 ml of Velvet Falernum, but as I've said, I don't have Velvet Falernum at the minute. So I'm going to be using 15 ml or 1/2 ounce of Kronen Swedish Punch. Finally, as with all the cocktails in this video, the last ingredient we're going to be adding is Green Chartreuse. This time, we're going to add 45 ml or 1.5 ounces of this Alpine goodness. A swizzle can only really be made with a swizzle stick, or the back of a bar spoon, which was kindly sent to me by Axia. It'll work. You want to do this until the glass is frosty on the outside, then you can top it with more pebble ice. Now we've given that a swizzle, we're going to top this with pebble ice. I like to get a nice cap on top, and I'm going to garnish this with a couple of pineapple fronds. And there you have the Chartreuse Swizzle. I'm going to drink this with a bamboo straw because it's not tiki without a bamboo straw. Oh wow, I can see why this won the competition. That is so nice. The pineapple is so fresh. Pineapple is honestly one of the weirdest ingredients in the entire world. It pairs with everything. I'm yet to find something that pineapple really doesn't elevate. From coffee to Green Chartreuse to the traditional rum-based tiki cocktails, pineapple works with everything. That is so nice. The Swedish Punch edition, it adds more of a richness to the drink. It takes it more down that classic tiki vibe because it's got the Batavia Iraq and the rum in, which the Velvet Falernum lacks. It's got a bit more heat to it. It's gorgeous, and look at it. It looks amazing. If I was going to delve deeper into the flavour notes, the medicinality is definitely there. You've got this light alpine note that underpins everything. You can tell it's from tiki, you can tell it's a modern tiki classic, but at the same time, it's got enough going on that for me it's chartreuse at its core, not tiki. This is a chartreuse cocktail that has been pushed down the route of tiki, rather than a tiki-themed cocktail that uses chartreuse. This is my new favourite chartreuse cocktail. I think, besides the ones in my book, this is, it's definitely my favourite new green chartreuse cocktail. I never thought the last word would be ousted, but it has been usurped. So there we have it, my new favourite green chartreuse cocktail, thanks to Mr. Dionysus from San Francisco, is the Chartreuse Swizzle. Thank you so much for watching me make these 3 delicious chartreuse cocktails. We enjoyed the last word, we really enjoyed the Chartreuse Swizzle, and I somewhat enjoyed the Bijou. It's not for everyone, that one. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. As always, if you liked the video, feel free to drop it a like. If you want to see more content like this every Monday, you can always subscribe and ding that notification bell. If you'd like to see more content from me on the daily, you can always head over to Instagram at SpeakeasiaUK, where there will be content somewhat like this and not really like this. Until next time, it's been an absolute pleasure. See you soon.